growing number of lawmakers are now calling for more regulation into the space as concerns grow over what the future of AI may really look like. One of those lawmakers is California Congressman Ted Lieu, who joins me now. Congressman, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Frank.
So, Congressman, you're on the House Judiciary Committee, which has some oversight of tech. You're also on a subcommittee for the internet. You're on something I've never even heard of, the AI caucus. Give us a sense of the conversations that are going on in Congress about AI, especially when it comes to regulation.
Thank you, Frank, for your question. The best analogy I can have is I think artificial intelligence is like a steam engine right now, which was quite disruptive for society. But in a few years, it's going to become a rocket engine with a personality. And I don't think society is quite prepared for that. You're going to have job displacements. You're going to have new jobs created, some jobs eliminated. And you're also going to have artificial intelligence in lots of things that could benefit society and some things that could kill us. And so we need to make sure that we can harness the benefits of AI without having the harms visit us.
All right, so Congressman, you have actually an op-ed in the New York Times. It's called, "I'm a congressman who codes and AI freaks me out." You actually let AI write the first paragraph of this op-ed about your concerns about AI. So it's a bit of a meta, kind of a full circle moment here. Just give us a sense of the gist of this op-ed and why you felt the need to write it right now.
So as a recovering computer science major, I am enthralled with artificial intelligence. It's definitely made our lives better, from the GPS on your phone app to weather predictions to all sorts of systems that you see and don't see that prevent credit card fraud and help protect national security. It is here to stay, and it's going to benefit our country. But it's also in things like a car going 100 miles per hour. And if it malfunctions, it can cause a multi-vehicle accident, as happened with a Tesla that was in automated driving mode and suddenly stopped, causing a multi-vehicle accident. So we need to look at how do we regulate AI and what kinds of AI do we regulate. So we're not going to want to regulate the AI in your smart refrigerator, but we want to regulate in facial recognition technology that right now discriminates against people with darker skin. I think we do.
Yeah, we're really going to touch on that later in the show, Congressman, but I want to touch on something. I'm seeing behind you the Baby Yoda figurine, or Grogu. I want to be politically correct for all the nerds out there. It's Grogu. But we do see AI already in our lives, and you liken AI to the fourth industrial revolution, and you even mentioned steam engines, but we have so much AI in our lives right now. I did a story with Visa just last week. They've been using AI to prevent fraud for about 5 years right now. What do we really need to be afraid of? You mentioned potential discrimination through facial recognition technology and things like that. That's something that certainly needs to be addressed. But for the broader America, the world, what is it that we need to be so worried about in the future?
I'll give you one good example. So ChatGPT right now is a free application. Go on the internet and use it. It can, for example, write essays for you, which will make it very hard for professors or teachers to know if an assignment was written by a student or by a computer. But it can also do things, if there are no guardrails on it, for example, to do hacking. It would be an incredible tool to hack into all sorts of institutions. The founders of ChatGPT put guardrails on that. But you can imagine other countries or perhaps other companies may not want to do that. And then you could have this amazing cyber hacking tool that can break into a lot of people's computers or institutions' computers. So that's one example of harm from AI.
Yeah, so some definite potential harm there. So you're saying there needs to be regulation. I'm sure you're talking to some of your colleagues there on Capitol Hill. What does regulation look like? Do we need an AI czar? Do we need an AI agency to regulate everything? Are you volunteering to be the czar? I mean, spell out to me what regulation looks like in the United States, where we, of course, have a democracy, we have bureaucracy, we have, a two-party system, probably a lot of disagreements about exactly what needs to be done.
So I'm not that smart, but I am smart enough to know what I don't know. And so I think the first thing we have to do is to get very smart people who know about AI to look at this issue and then make recommendations. So I'm right now drafting a bill that would create a bipartisan blue ribbon commission to look at what kinds of AI we should regulate and how we would go about doing that, and then to make those recommendations to Congress.
All right, so as you're writing this bill, you're hoping that it actually gets passed. If you could make the first recommendation, what would it be?
Well, for everyone, I would encourage people to look at AI and then to use it and then to think about the consequences as we project years down the road. Some of these are quite beneficial. So it's going to make a lot of human tasks much more efficient. So we could basically do the same kind of work, the same kind of productivity in a 4-day work week in the future that we do now. So maybe that's something we should look at. It's also going to take some jobs that are white-collar jobs and completely eliminate them. And that's going to create new jobs. And you should look at, well, what kinds of folks do we need to put in these new jobs? What kind of training do we have to put in? Society hasn't really thought a lot about this yet, and we need to do some deep thinking about what AI is going to do in the next few years.
Yeah, I think this conversation is really just getting started. Thank you so much, Congressman Ted Lieu. We appreciate you being here.